Ever felt the presence of something unexplainable? Stay tuned to uncover chilling tales from others who have.
Edith had always been full of cryptic wisdom, the kind that lingered in your mind long after the conversation had ended. The day I set out for my hike in the woods, she leaned on her cane at her front gate and watched me with those sharp, knowing eyes. "The woods have a way of keeping you longer than you intend," she said, her voice soft but heavy with meaning. "There are old souls there, you know. Some you see, some you feel. Be careful not to lose your way, and whatever you do, don't stay past nightfall." I laughed nervously, brushing her warning off as superstition, but her words stayed with me as I entered the forest. It was a beautiful place, the kind of landscape you could get lost in for hours, rolling trails blanketed in golden leaves, the occasional babbling brook, and a canopy of trees so thick it felt like stepping into another world. I hadn't intended to linger, but the woods seemed to pull me deeper, each path more enchanting than the last. It wasn't until late afternoon that I realized I was hopelessly lost. The trails that once seemed welcoming now felt foreign, unfamiliar. My map was useless, it might as well have been a page from a book. And as the sun began to dip lower, a chilling stillness settled over the woods. The shadows stretched long, dark fingers across the ground, and the vibrant colours of the forest seemed to drain away. That was when I heard it, a rustling in the underbrush, faint at first but growing louder. My pulse quickened as the sound moved closer, circling me. I called out, half hoping it was another hiker, but my voice echoed unanswered. Then came the growl, low and unmistakably animal. Every hair on my body stood on end as the growling gave way to an eerie series of sounds. Branches snapping, leaves crunching, something moving too fast for me to track. Panic surged in my chest. Edith's words rang in my ears. "Old souls don't stay past nightfall." I clutched my bag tightly, scanning the dimming forest for any sign of what might be stalking me. My breaths came quick and shallow, and for a moment I was certain I was not alone. Then, out of the shadows, I saw it. A pair of eyes, glowing faintly amber. My heart stopped. Whatever it was watching me, unmoving, just beyond the reach of the light. My mind raced. Was it a predator? Something worse? The growling had stopped, but the silence felt more threatening than the sound. As I stood frozen, the figure stepped forward into the fading light. It was a dog. Not just any dog, but a striking one, with a pure white coat that seemed to glow faintly, as if it had captured the last rays of sunlight. Its floppy ears bounced as it moved, and its eyes, those luminous amber eyes, regarded me with an expression that wasn't hostile at all. In fact, it was warm. I let out a shaky laugh, relief washing over me. "You scared me half to death," I said, though my voice trembled. The dog tilted its head as if to say, "I didn't mean to." Still, there was something strange about it. It wore no collar, bore no sign of an owner. And that glow, it wasn't just a trick of the light. The dog took a step closer, its tail wagging gently, and I noticed how silent its movements were. No crunch of leaves, no sound at all. I hesitated, unsure whether to reach out or run, but the dog sat down, its gaze steady and reassuring, and I realized it wasn't there to harm me. "Are you lost too?" I asked, my voice quieter now. The dog barked softly, an oddly cheerful sound that seemed to break the tension in the air. It stood, turned, and looked back at me, wagging its tail. The message was clear: follow me. And so, against all logic, I followed. The dog moved with purpose, navigating the woods with an ease that was almost otherworldly. Every so often it would glance back to ensure I was keeping up. At first, I tried to rationalize its presence. Maybe it belonged to someone nearby. Maybe it was a stray that had learned its way around the woods. But as we went deeper, those explanations felt thin. The dog didn't just know the paths, it seemed to know me, stopping when I stumbled, barking softly when I hesitated, nudging me forward when I grew uncertain. It wasn't long before I noticed how the forest seemed to change around it. The oppressive shadows felt less menacing, the air lighter. At one point I heard a distant howl, something wild, something too close, and I froze. The dog, however, stood firm, looking back at me with those warm, steady eyes. It barked once, softly but firmly, as if to say, "You're safe with me." I don't know how long we walked. Time felt strange, stretched thin by the strange light of the dog's faint glow. At one point, I tripped over a root, and the dog was there, pressing against me, steadying me. "Thanks," I murmured, the absurdity of talking to a stray not lost on me. But it felt right. It felt necessary. Finally, the trees began to thin, and I saw the faint glow of lanterns in the distance. The dog barked again, a joyous sound, and bounded ahead. I hurried after it, heart pounding with relief as I realized I recognized the path. When I reached the edge of the woods, I turned to thank my companion. But the dog was gone. I stood there for a moment, stunned. The forest was still again, the air heavy with the weight of something unseen. Then I remembered Edith's words, and a chill ran down my spine. "Old souls, some you see." When I returned to the village and told her what had happened, she only smiled. "You saw him," she said simply, her voice tinged with reverence, "the one who guides the lost. Some call him Alfie, though no one knows where the name came from. He's been there for centuries, helping those who need him. You're lucky, you know. Lucky." That word stayed with me. Days later, I left a small bowl of water and a biscuit at the forest's edge, a silent thank you to the spirit who had found me when I needed him most. Though I never saw him again, every so often, I hear a faint bark in the wind, and I smile. Because Alfie, or whatever he truly was, reminded me that even in the darkest woods, there's light to guide us. Sometimes that light comes in the form of a loyal companion, one who knows the way even when we don't. If this chilling tale gave you goosebumps, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories like this. Thank you for tuning in to Ghostly Echoes. Until next time,